Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of the Jack the Lad podcast. On today's episode we've got on Jaspa Barrott. Welcome.
Hello.
How's things?
Things are good actually, surprisingly for me. I'm in between work shift patterns, so I've got a little bit of time to sort of chill out and do nothing. Show's all done for this week. So yeah, I'm just relaxing a little bit.
So you mentioned there a show. What is it you do for a living?
I host an internet radio show, which is primarily for underground rock and metal musicians. I've been doing it for about 12 years now. So,
okay.
You know, it's sort of almost second nature. 2-hour show still takes me around about 6-7 hours to complete a whole show with all the editing and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's been pretty much my life for the last 12 years.
And how did you get into it?
Oh, how long have you got for this? It's quite a convoluted story.
That's what this podcast's all about.
Right. Well, it starts way back, just after my first marriage split up. And I moved from Brighton to Birmingham, went to live with my dad for a bit to get myself back on my feet. And I ended up working for a guy that repaired old amplifiers, speakers, and he hired out DJ equipment and things like that. And it was basically myself and a technician, and then 2 young lads that did the packing and the posting, packaging sort of stuff, and answered the phones. And we had a lady that had ordered a flight case, and she didn't get the service that she wanted, basically. And she phoned up to complain, and the 2 lads were like, so give me the phone, I'll deal with this. So we were chatting away, and we got on quite well. We were chatting away, became quite friendly, tried to sort out the problems that she'd got. And it turned out that she was a singer. So as I'm a guitarist, and we were just chatting away about music and such like, she mentioned that she was taking part in a sort of talent competition, and she actually won it in the end. And it turned out that the first prize was for her to be able to have a radio show. So she rocked up to do this radio show, and it wasn't anywhere near what she was promised. The people that ran the company were a bit annoyed about it. So when they stopped doing the radio show, they turned around to her and said, "Would you like to take over and have the station and then run the station?" So she said, "Oh, yeah, I think I could do that." And she phoned me up one afternoon and said, "I'm doing this radio station thing now. I need shows. Will you do a rock show for me?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I will." And I put the phone down. I thought, how do I do that? I have no idea what I'm doing. So I had absolutely no background in radio transmission or anything like that. Excuse me. So I had to work out a way of getting the band equipment to connect to the computer so that I could start this rock show. And I had an idea that I was going to do unsigned bands that the mainstream media had completely missed, ignored, not bothered with, such like. And I've eventually, over the years, built up a fair old amount of contacts with unsigned bands. That show went out for about 2.5 years, and an American station picked the show up as well. The American station was called the Indie Authority, which eventually split into 3 separate units. So all of a sudden, I had three American stations playing the show as well. And I thought, oh, you know, this is a bit odd. A, I have no idea what I'm doing. My equipment is rubbish. And all of a sudden, I've got 3 American stations and a UK station playing my show. I'm gonna have to up my game a little bit. So basically, I went looking for new bands. Spent loads of time on Facebook. I don't have to do that quite so much now because after a couple of years and a couple of other stations had picked this show up, promoters started coming to me and saying, "Oh, would you be interested in playing this band or this band for me?" So I end up now with about 250 emails a week just from promoters trying to get their bands played on the show, which is all right. It's becomes a little bit difficult at times then because of the format of the show. I only play bands that I've already introduced, so they become part of the Heads Up Rock Show family. And I introduce 4 new bands every week. So sometimes I have a huge amount of bands waiting to get on, and I sort of cruise a little bit, and I don't think too much about it, and I just pick 4 bands from my queue folder until I get to the point where I've only got like 2 bands left in there, and I think, oh, I've let that slip a little bit, and then I have to go on a rampage around Facebook, checking out all the bands, who they're playing with, finding other bands from there, and doing it myself. Because not all the bands that get sent to me are worthy of the show. You know, you have to sort of you have to siphon through them. I want the show obviously to be the best thing that I can produce, which means I don't want to play bands that I can't get on with, you know. And there are quite a few bands that come through that I just look at the name and you think, no, I can't be having that. And some of the underground bands aren't sensible with their names. You know, it's all sorts of 4-letter words in them and things, and you just look at it and think, oh, it's going to be this show goes out on 7 o'clock on an evening sometimes, and there could be kids around, and the last thing they want is me effing and jeffing into a microphone that's something that their dad's listening to. You know.
Yeah, I suppose. I've never really thought about it, to be honest. I listen to a lot of sort of like dance music and stuff like that, so there aren't many. There's not many swear words with it because there's not much talking. To be fair,
no, that tends to be. I mean, and I think the reason that I stick to rock is because mostly rock is about the lyric. It's about telling a story, whereas most dancing music, and to be honest, a lot of chart music is about the beat.
Yeah,
it's all about getting you up to dance. Now, I'm not a dancer, not in any way, shape, or form.
I've been known in my time to cut a few shapes, but not so much anymore.
Not me. There's an old joke that I tend to throw out when people talk to me about dancing, about my 2 left feet, about me going out to buy another pair of flip-flips. Did make me laugh, so I thought I'll keep that in my repertoire.
Some flip-flips, yeah, I like that.
2 left feet, yeah.
That is very good.
So, yeah, I like music that I don't have to dance to.
Yeah,
you
nice.
know, and I find that rock excites me. You know, it's loud and it's brash and it's in your face. And you know, I don't mind a bit of pop punk. And literally on the show, I will play anything that I can attach the word rock to.
Right.
You know, emo rock, punk rock.
Just quickly, I just wanted to jump in.
That plays dance music.
Yep.
And she calls her type of music dance punk. So
right.
I'm thinking, right, dance punk rock, that'll do. I'll bung that in. She's a good friend of mine, and she releases some pretty epic stuff. But it's not rock music, and I sort of have to get around it by saying, well, it's my show. If I want to play it, I will.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, when you were talking earlier about the American stations,
yes,
how does that all work? So obviously they approach you and say, all right, Jasper, we want to use your show, but how do you have to sign rights over, or is there sort of a contract agreement, or how does that all work?
Basically, we I do everything over Facebook, to be honest. Somebody from the station gets in touch and says we're quite interested in running your show. These are the time slots we've got available. Which one would suit you the best? And to be honest, if it's in America or somewhere like that, the time slot's not that important to me. If it suits them, then that's good. And I just add them to the list of people that I send the show to.
So you create your show, and then you just send it out to different outlets, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
All right, okay. It's not too much different to the podcast sort of thing then. Like
No.
I do mine, and then I send it to a host site, and then that sends it out to all the other sort of sites that people stream it off.
Yeah. It's pretty much a very, very similar thing. Yeah.
Yeah. On that then, with your with the your DJing and stuff like that, how long has it taken you to get as good as you are, and are you as good as you can be?
I'm never as good as I can be. There's no way that you. I mean, without people writing for you, you have to make this stuff up as you go along in between songs. You're never going to be the best you can, because you'll always look back at it and think, "Oh, I should have said this, or I could have done that, or I could have done this." If somebody's writing a script for you for in between the records and showing you, and you can look back at it and think, "Oh, I'd rather say this," or I think that could be tweaked a little bit. I'm happy with what I do. I wouldn't say I'm the best I can be. And as for it being the best show, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy doing it.
So before, obviously, you became a DJ, what's your sort of background? Like, talk me through your sort of, childhood and growing up and your jobs, stuff like
that. Well, I pretty much went into the Air Force straight after school. I did 12 years there. I wanted to do more. My 12 years came up just around options for change between the Falklands and the all the Saudi stuff. And they basically they weren't going to take any people on. They weren't going to extend any contracts or anything like that. So I did my 12 years and came out. Otherwise, there's a chance that I'd have still been in now. But I came out looking for a job. That was quite difficult because as an armourer doing weapons and explosives and such like, there's not a huge amount in Civvy Street for you to do. So I ended up moving to Brighton. Lived in Brighton for 15 years. I worked at a place called B&W where they make speakers. So I did a lot of that because I was always interested in electronics. When that sort of dried up a little bit, again, very difficult to find another line of work down there. I ended up working in a video shop, which I eventually bought from the guy. He was moving to Spain, and he said, "Do you want to take this on?" So I bought the video shop. A Blockbuster's opened very, very close to where we were. Put all the local video shops out of business. So I was like, "Oh, great." That my marriage sort of fell apart around that time as well, for one reason or another. So I closed up shop, split up, and I went back to Birmingham, lived with my dad for a while, which is where I started working for this guy that did the amplifiers and DJ equipment. After a few years of that, I met my new wife, my latest wife, the one that I'm with now. She lived in Cirencester at the time, so basically I moved to Cirencester. We got married eventually. I had to wait ages, to be honest, because my previous wife refused to give up the marriage. She's like, no. So I had to wait for like the 7 years elapsing before I could actually go ahead with it. without permission. I was like, I shouldn't need permission, stupidness. But anyway, I ended up remarrying. We now live in Cheltenham, and I went into security work, retail security to start off with, which I absolutely hated. Did 9 years of that. Decided I wasn't even going to bother renewing the license in the end. So I came out, started to look for engineering work, and then ended up going back into security. So I'm now working at Gloucester University Halls of Residence as their night security.
All right. So
that's us up to date.
You yeah, you briefly brushed over, obviously, that you were an armourer in the RAF.
Yes.
I would like to hear more about that. Obviously, I've got 11 years in the military, in the Army and the Air Force.
Yeah.
But I know, obviously, from my old man and his experience that, and even my granddad when I spoke to him, and my uncle, every one of our experiences in the RAF has been completely different, just because of the era that we were in, and obviously the people that we serve with, the change in technology, all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, like what made you join the RAF in the first place? What was your, day one? What do you remember about that? I mean, I remember both day ones in the Army and the RAF.
They're hard to forget, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just a shock to the system, isn't it? You walk straight in, and I mean, my first one, especially the Army one, Mum and Dad had drove me down to Purbright for training, and it was all, hugs, kisses, and all that, and it's like, see you later. Cross the gate, cross the barrier line to enter the camp, and the corporal that was in charge of getting us on the bus and taking us to, I think, was called Corporal Payne. And Payne by name, Payne by nature, 100%. He'd gone for SAS selection a couple of times. He was an absolute animal. And, literally, as soon as I crossed over that line, name, and I was like, Jack. And he was like, I don't give a fuck about your first name. What's your surname?
Yeah.
And my mum stood literally 20 metres away. Do you know what I mean? Old man knows what's going on. But my mum's I can see her looking over, and she's looking at Dad, and I was a bit what is going on here? And and it's get on there, just, shoves you on, and then that's it. And then I think we got beasted for a lot of that day, to be fair. Because someone turned up late. And I was like, how the fuck is that our fault? There's 90 of us.
Yeah, exactly. Why we're all getting punished.
So what is, what's your sort of standout stories? Any filth on me old man, especially, to be honest?
Not a lot of filth on your old man. We were in training together, and that was pretty much it.
Right, okay.
But yeah, we had a good time. I have no idea what made me go into the RAF. It was sort of, I saw the careers centre, had a look at it, and thought, no, I think I could probably do that.
Why armourer?
I don't know. Originally, I wanted to go in and do electronics. I'd always been interested in electronics, but I think it was that danger, the guns and explosives and things like that. Bangs and noises, and I think it was probably that did it in the end. But yeah, the first day, I can't remember the names of the DIs that were there, but I went by train to Sleaford, someone I'd never heard of before. So I got off the train, there was a bus waiting, you're like, oh, there you go. So then you troop on with everyone else that's there to get there and get off. Then it's an angry little man just shouting in your face for the whole rest of the time you're there. I thought, wow, I was not expecting that. But yeah, this stuff about getting beasted most of the time, I do remember that. It's like, yeah, that bloke's messed things up. Why am I doing press ups?
It's blanket punishment.
Stupid. But yeah, I know I was never the fittest person there. I've never been overly fit. So when it came to doing like the mile and a half runs and things like that, I was always at the back, and they were always waiting for me, and I always got the looks, you know.
See, even that's changed in the RAF now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what they do now, but it's a bleep test that's done now.
Right. Yeah. So
And
backwards and forwards.
yeah, as you get older, it obviously gets less and less. But I think the base, the sort of normal level for 18 to 30-year-olds, I believe is only like 9.5 or 9.10 or something like that. It's not that high. It's very, very sort of easily achievable. But people still fail it, obviously.
Oh yeah, I'd be that bloke. I couldn't even hear the bleep. Sorry, Governor. My ears are a bit, you know. What's all that music?
Yeah. So out of training, then obviously you go to your phase 2 training, your technician training.
Yeah, well, that's where I met your old man. We were on the phase 2 training. In fact, I think it was probably the fitters course when we were going up for technician training. But yeah, armourer training was interesting. I've never been one of those people that can read a book and learn from a book. I learn from listening and learn from doing. So if I have to read things, I tend to fall asleep. So, but this huge amount of books as you do when you're training, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. Oh no! So we all used to tend to sit around and read the books out loud. So, and I would learn doing that, which was good. It worked for me. Didn't work for everybody, and somehow got through it.
Yeah.
So they sent me to RF Coningsby to the bomb dump.
I know Coningsby. I was never stationed there, but we played against them a few times at footy.
Yeah. So I went to the bomb dump, and I was there almost a week before I got called into the warrant officer's office. With my little squeaky bum, what have I done wrong? He said, I have a proposition for you. I was like, how am I getting a proposition after a week of being here? What have I done wrong now? He said, well, the Phantom squadrons are going out to Cyprus, and one of their armourers is off sick. So they need a replacement. And seeing as we haven't had time to train you properly, he thought you could go and do that first, and then come back and then start again and do your bomb dump training. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, where are they going? He says, it's a 6-week detachment to Cyprus. Bargain. We'll have some of that.
Yeah, 100%.
What a shock that was. Wow. The first night there, we hadn't even unpacked. And the guys were like, right, we're off then to get some beer for the barbecue. Okay, then. So I turned up, 18 years old, still wet behind the ears, with all these big, airy-arsed armourers. Yeah. So must have been about 11:30 when we're still throwing beers down our necks from 4:00 in the afternoon. And someone said, oh, yeah, you do realise we're at 4:00 start tomorrow. I said, oh, what? He said, 4:00. Oh, that's good. In the morning. Really? So, yeah, they dragged me out of bed at 4:00 in the morning onto the pan in Cyprus after about an hour and a half's worth of training on how to put to do the seat pins on an ejection seat in a Phantom. I was like, oh crap! I had no idea what I was doing, where I was, who was there, because obviously the people that I'd started working with were all still in the UK on the bomb dump. So I was with a squadron of people that I'd never met before, doing a job that I had no idea about. Still, the time off was good. You know, we used to finish at about midday because it was too hot to work. And then we had the rest of the afternoon to ourselves.
Nice. So you mentioned obviously that you sorted out the pins on the ejection seat for the Phantom.
Yeah.
What exactly is a Phantom for obviously people outside of the military that wouldn't know?
The Phantom was originally it was an American aircraft carrier jet. To be honest, I didn't have a huge amount to do with them. I was on the squadron, like I said, for 6 weeks, and then I was back to the bomb dump. Basically, they're short, quite low planes with big spiky things under the wings, just exactly where you need to be as an armourer to put bombs and things on. The amount of people that used to gash their heads on vortex generators, which are basically 2.5-inch spikes, little triangular, almost razor blade type things to cut the airflow up. And basically, they're just in exactly the wrong place for anybody to work underneath the aircraft. So, yeah.
When people were working in and around there, why didn't they introduce wearing helmets, having to wear helmets under there to eradicate that?
It's very difficult when you're under an aircraft with a helmet on, because you need to be looking either side of you. If you're messing around with explosives, you want to see what's going on.
Well, not necessarily like a military helmet, not like a war helmet.
No,
it's like a normal, like a safety cap sort of thing.
Because we were armourers, we were stupid.
I would agree with that, because I know my old man.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, oh, just go on there, really roughy, toughy armourers. What doesn't matter? Oh, what's this? Oh, crap! I've got blood in my face again.
That was a little bit harder than the bone.
Because we thought we were indestructible.
Now you do sound like my old man. Jesus Christ. How many times have I heard that in my life?
Yeah. Oh, bulletproof. Yeah. So now I'm paying for it. Now you get to around 60 and you think, I wish I'd done less kneeling down under aircraft and less stupid things to my body.
Yeah, but then you got stories to sell, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I suppose.
No good story started with a salad. I could say that.
That's right, yeah. Most of them started with a barbecue.
And a few beers. So what's the sort of future looking like for Jasper and Voodoo Radio Heads Up Rock Show?
Hopefully more stations. I've got around 65 gigabytes of music for the show. And that grows every week. New singles, new bands, new albums, all that sort of stuff. So literally more of the same. The rock show will always be as it is now. It's changed a couple of times over the years, and I'm now very happy with the format. Excuse me. Very happy with the format. So I don't envisage changing it any in the future. I don't have to worry so much about labels and things anymore. It used to be an unsigned, purely unsigned show. So as soon as a band got signed to a label, I had to stop playing them, which was a choice that I made when I first started. And I found out a lot of the labels that bands were signed to was basically their own label. They will do all the recordings and produce all their own music and then become their own label. So I thought, well, that's just stupid, because it's not a big label. And I'm losing out on some decent music because of this unsigned thing. So I ripped the unsigned out of it. And a lot of the bands that I deal with now are signed to, I wouldn't say underground labels. Some of them are very prominent in the rock and metal scene, but they're not big media labels like Virgin used to be, and EMI and things like that. So, to be honest, I don't mind so much. All the stations are licensed to play all the music that I play, and a lot of the signed music, the mainstream music that the other DJs play. So that's not an issue for me at the moment. It's only when you get a station that takes it on and then all of a sudden says, "Oh yeah, well we don't do the licenses, so you can't play signed music that I have to be careful about what I'm doing. The last one that did that has actually stopped functioning as a radio station now. So I don't have to worry about it anymore. I can play pretty much what I like.
So, just like final thoughts. I ask every guest this question, just for the variety of answer that I get. What life advice would you give, up and coming DJs, young lads that want to join as armourers, any of that sort of stuff, anything that you've done? What advice would you give someone that is, sort of 40 years behind you?
Take more care of your body than I did. Look after yourself a bit. I'm paying for it now. Don't take things too seriously. There's a time and a place to be serious, and that's when you're doing something dangerous. When you're not, there's no point. There's no point in wasting your way being grumpy and glum and taking things too seriously. It's not the way of the world, is it?
No, I couldn't agree more.
Enjoy your life. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, we're only here for a short time, so
yeah, exactly.
Keep it joyful.
It just feels like a long time.
Yeah,
but it does when you've abused your body like I have. It feels like ages.
There's a saying I heard not too long ago about if you're forever making other people happy, you'll never be happy yourself.
That's a very good point. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very true, because I think if people don't do what they want to do and they're just doing it to make sure that, that other people are content with what they're saying or whatever there is, and they're checking themselves, they're never showing their true colours, and they're never, that person is never being true to themselves.
Yeah. And you're never going to get everybody to like what you do or like you. There's no point in trying to force people to like you.
Oh, 100%. People would dislike someone just because of how they look.
Yeah. So,
and there's no getting around that. It doesn't matter what you say.
The people that you like and the people that like you will do it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Jasper, unless you've got anything more.
I haven't at the moment. I'll let you know when I do. We'll do this again.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you want to give everyone your, tags for your radio station and all the rest of it, all your social media stuff?
My show basically is all advertised on Facebook. You find me at Andy Jaspa Barrott. Jasper with an A instead of an ER, and Barrett with an O-double-T instead of an E-double-T. Or you can type in heads up, and it generally comes up with me.
So that's the Heads Up Rock Show. So it's on Voodoo Radio.
It's on, I believe it's 9 radio stations at the moment. My page I'll start off the advertising on my page on a Sunday, the day before the new show comes out, with a poster on my page with all the radio stations listed on it and all the bands listed on it. So anybody that needs to know what's going on can find that. For the individual shows, there's another poster. Each show has its own poster. Each radio station has its own poster. And I'll upload that on the day that it's been broadcast with the times and all the bands tagged into it. And that way, if you need to find a band or you're listening to it and you think, I quite like that, you can find the band in the tags and you can go straight to their page.
Perfect.
Makes a lot of sense. It makes life easier. It makes my life easier anyway. So, every day you can go onto my Facebook page, find the poster. That'll tell you when and a link to the actual station. Most of them are on Alexa and Google and smart speakers and things now. So it's just a case of finding out the best day and the best time for yourself, really.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Jasper. It's been
thank you very much.
Very eye-opening. And yeah, like you say, we'll do it again sometime. Maybe if I start a rock band, you can interview me on your radio show.
Brilliant. No, that would be great. You'd be surprised the that, where I get some of these bands from, and it can be simply having a chat with somebody in the street.
Okay.
And they'll say, I play this, play that, got a band, and we'll go, I'll find you on Facebook and have a listen.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you very much.
See you later.
See ya.